Hey gang, this is Matt again, and this video I'm going to be showing an example of using D3Splint. It's a great software to digitally design your different deprogrammers, different splints and occlusal guards and everything. So here I'm going to be making an anterior deprogrammer, and I'm going to be doing a simple shell on the lower, and I'm going to be creating a ramp for that in Mesh Mixer. So anyway, I thought I'd show the workflow here. I'm going to have the Anterior Deprogrammer on the upper, and so I'm going to highlight here, select splint model, and then I'm going to set opposing. I set landmarks here. I should say that using Blender is a little bit different from Mesh Mixer. So to manipulate the view of the model, you want to hold down your scroll wheel. Want to hit the right molar, left molar, incisal edge, and midline. Click enter to finish. But yeah, this is an excellent software that's very inexpensive, and so if you're interested in creating your own digitally guided splints and deprogrammers and whatnot, I really recommend checking it out, and I will link to it there. Here it's going to show the virtual articulator. I really don't change anything much, so okay, so here we're going to set the path of draw here. We're going to survey the model. Reset it here. There we go. Okay, and so that arrow kind of shows the path of draw there. And that looks pretty good. All right. Next, we're going to mark the splint. And so it's because this is just an anterior deprogrammer, I'm going to go about canine to canine. I like to have a little bit. And actually, when I make this, I'm going to make it closer to the premolar here. And I'm going to extend it up fairly well. Again, kind of like my indirect bonding trays, I used to kind of go just mid-center of the tooth height-wise. But now I really go up and over that, that height of contour there for better engagement. You can see I'm going to the premolar here. Usually I go to the canines, but again, I like to kind of overdraw a little bit because this stuff is so easy to trim that I would rather overextend a little bit and then just kind of trim back as necessary. So that's what I'm doing here. There we go, and you have to walk all the way around until it's connected again. We'll hit enter, and then we're going to trim the model, and it's going to get rid of all of that excess data. Okay. And what's cool about this software is you really just keep working down the line here. I'm going to up the thickness to 2 millimeters. The reason being is I actually made one of these for myself. I'm a huge clincher and grinder, and this was before I got myself into a herps to help maybe increase airway. But before that, I was doing this dual NTI style appliance, damps appliance, and I had it set at the regular 1.5, and I ended up cracking it. And so, because I am a huge grinder, don't really mess with that too much. Okay, so moving things in this can be a little bit tricky. You hold right click to move things around, and then left click to set it where you set it at. So it's a little bit weird getting used to this, but it does get easier. I was not familiar with Blender, and really this program is the only time I use Blender. So I'm not as fluent with it as I am like Mesh Mixer and Blue Sky Plan. But there we go. Looking good. Okay, now we're going to fuse Deprogrammer, so it fuses those two meshes together. All right, and we're going to just keep going down the line, block out large concavities. I will say that this is a pretty robust program, and so it likes to eat up a lot of data. There we go. Spacer, if I keep it at 0.1 unless if they have really short non-retentive teeth, and I bump it down to 0.07. But she has pretty good length of teeth, so I'm just going to leave it where it's at. But yeah, so if you're going to be using this software, don't have Mesh Mixer open or Blue Sky Plan open at the same time unless you have a beast of a computer. Heck, I'm running this on a pretty high-end gamer laptop, and it still can take a little bit. So you can see that die spacer, basically, that it's put there. We're going to block out any undercuts. Again, don't really mess with any of these. I don't mess with any of these settings. And just like everything else digital, once you get the hang of this, it becomes pretty smooth. And then I really encourage you to have one of your team members champion this on. So for me, my team member who really wanted to champion the digital ortho side of things, now I'm teaching her to do this as well, because for maximum efficiency, you should be able to your team should be able to know what you want to do to your prescriptions. I mean, you want to tell them obviously what type of appliance you want to design and all that stuff, and really kind of write out your guidelines for doing such. But then train up a team member to do this, so that way you just have to look at it and okay it. That's good. So, all right, there we go. We're going to finalize the splint. And there we go. So that is our splint there. You can see a little tag right here. I'm going to clean that up in, same thing here. I want to clean that up in Mesh Mixer. But we're going to export that. I'm just going to call it upper rough because I am going to detail it a little bit in Mesh Mixer. But there we go. Here I have that file, and really it looks pretty good. I'm not going to have to do a whole heck of a lot to this. Okay, really that's about it. I mean, it looks pretty good. So we are going to get that set to print, and then I'm also going to design a lower model, a lower freeform for that to go on.